Karim Mustafa Benzema, a player who was at the top of his game just a year ago, is facing a desperate situation at Saudi. He has had trouble with his managers, problems with the French politicians, got heavily criticized by the fans and media, to deleting his Instagram account. A lot has happened with Benzema within a year. So let's deep dive into his story and try and understand how a player who won the Ballon d'Or in 2022 is struggling so much in 2024. So if you look at Benzema's time towards the end at Real Madrid, it was not the worst by any means. In fact, he was performing well and was expected to renew his contract with the Spanish giants. We can have a look at his stats. In 2022-23 season, Benzema managed 18 goals and 3 assists from 23 appearances at La Liga. Also scored 4 goals in 10 Champions League matches before getting knocked out by Manchester City. And although the numbers are decent, we must also remember that he was injured for a long part of the season, and his numbers would have been even better if he somehow avoided those injuries. Because just a year before that, Real Madrid won the Champions League, where Karim Benzema was the highest goal scorer of the tournament with 15 goals. He also helped Madrid to clinch the La Liga title, being the highest goal scorer in Spain with 27 goals. He was by far the best player of the season and won the Ballon d'Or, UEFA Player of the Year and French Player of the Year awards. So in terms of performance on the field, no one could have doubts on him. In fact, Real Madrid wanted him to renew his contract. It is said that he even had a verbal agreement. The management, the coach himself, the players and the fans, everyone wanted him to stay. But that all changed when he got a proposal to join Ittihad and become the next superstar of footballing world to be a part of Saudi Arabian football project. And while a good amount of players moved to Saudi last year, not everyone felt like they're suited for that league. For example, ex-Liverpool player Jordan Henderson was questioned because his views were different from that of Saudi government. Also, young players like Gabri Vega were criticized because they chose money over football. But Benzema's move made sense. It felt like it would suit both the parties. I mean, Benzema was 35 and went to a league which was seemingly on the rise, getting paid more than 100 million per season, even became the second highest earner, only behind Ronaldo. And for a player to have that opportunity towards the end of your career does sound good. And even for the Saudi league, they got one of the best players in the world, whose political views and religious affiliations somewhat aligned with the nation, which was great for their league's promotion and improving Saudi Arabia's image globally. When the transfer was finalized, Benzema said this: "For a long time, even before football, I wanted to come here. It's a Muslim country. Straight away, I felt the love for me. On and off the pitch, I feel good. This country welcomed me with open arms." He also said that I really want to help the Saudi football grow. Everything he said sounds perfect. So what do you think went wrong? Well, there are a few things. First of which were expectations. You see, with a move of this kind of magnitude, there are certain expectations from the parties involved. Like for Saudi League and Ittihad, although he was a free transfer, but the salary and the bonuses were high. And as we discussed, they would certainly want Benzema to be that player on the field and someone who promotes Saudi and its football off it. And now for Benzema, a player who has competed in arguably the best team of the world for 14 years, he will first of all have certain standards. Also, at the age of 35-36, playing in a league that's outside Europe and matching those levels from his past won't be easy. I mean, my man would have retirement on his mind, so that certainly was conflict of interest, and it actually looked problematic from the start. From the first team video that emerged after Benzema arrived at Saudi, he did not look comfortable. He sat alone at the back of the coach, awkwardly watched his new teammates. Maybe he was missing his Madrid boys. Anyways, when it came to his performance on the field, he marked his debut with an absolute stunner against Esperance de Tunis at the Arab Championship Cup. So one would expect better things from there on, but that didn't happen. You see, Ittihad won the league last year, and Benzema was supposed to take them to new levels. But nothing exceptional was seen on the field. I mean, they were winning and conceding less goals, but people expected more out of Benzema. They trailed the league leaders Hilal by a huge point difference at the halfway stage of the season. Benzema by now has scored only 9 goals, which is 5 less than former Tottenham player Kevin N'Koudou, and the same as former Barca misfit Malcolm. And the rumors started circulating that Benzema is looking for a way out. And we are not sure if that were the case, but that certainly didn't help him with his public image. And the major reason for that was also their match with Hilal, the team that Neymar joined. You see, Hilal vs Ittihad is a major Saudi Arabian rivalry, also known as the Saudi Classico. And even in that match, Benzema started well, as he put one past Yassine Bono to take a 3-1 lead in the first half. But second half was a different story, as former Fulham player Mitrovic scored a hat-trick to beat Ittihad by 3-4. Now Mitrovic was not even the player of the month for Fulham, while Benzema was the Ballon d'Or winner. So you can understand that fans were not happy and started showing their frustration. Now Benzema also was facing some injury issues, but something strange happened before the Asian Champions League opener against Uzbek side OKMK Al Malik. Benzema faced the media as usual, but he did not play the match, which he failed to mention during the press conference. Now that does not happen normally in football. So maybe he got injured after speaking with the media, or he was having some issues with the manager, because Benzema was forced to sit out 5 consecutive matches without Ittihad officially confirming the reason for his absence. And just as mysteriously he was gone, he reappeared to face Roberto Firmino's Al Ahly. If something like this happened in Spain or England, the media would have gone crazy. Anyways, what was ironic though was Ittihad did not lose once during Benzema's unexplained absence, yet they failed to win the first 4 league games after his return. Now that's not a good sign. Now he also had been unlucky sometimes, as he tried but things were not working for him, like in the match versus high-flying Al Tawun side, where Benzema opened the scoring but a few moments later he scored an own goal while trying to clear the corner. And in another match against recently promoted Al Hazm, he again scored the opener, but they equalized in the 86th minute, so again they failed to win that match. And matches like these build frustration, and Benzema, I'd say throughout his career, has been someone who in some way attracts controversies. So while all this was happening, there were tensions in the global front because of the Israel-Hamas conflict, which by now you can assume did not help Benzema one bit. You see, Benzema is a Muslim from France, and he moderately shares his views with regards to ongoing religious discussions. And the Israel-Hamas conflict has brought troubles to many footballers, including Benzema. Now I'd back a person who has the courage to raise his voice if he's seeing some injustice happening. But to quickly explain the whole situation, this is what happened. Now France was a country which was pro-Israel in the whole conflict, and Benzema posted a message of solidarity in support of the people of Gaza and had to face unfounded accusations from politicians back in France. He was singled out by French Interior Minister Gerald Darmanin, who said that Benzema was linked with the Muslim Brotherhood, which is an Islamic movement that has been banned in several countries, and there were multiple remarks of this sort. So Benzema all of a sudden was getting abused in his home country, which I think would have really bothered him. Now he responded and denied any links to Muslim Brotherhood. He also filed a case against Darmanin. Now what he posted didn't seem like a provocative post. So at this point I felt bad for Benzema, because he was trying to put a message of peace out there and politicians used it for their benefit, demeaning a player who is already struggling. Now all of this can obviously affect a player's behavior in general as well as in training, and eventually affecting his performances. And we can only imagine how it was dealt internally at his club. And talking about his club, he was having some troubles with his manager Nuno Espirito Santos. Now the rumors related to disconnect between the player and the coach surfaced as early as August, and Nuno was asked about this by the media, which he obviously dismissed. But he was no longer in a position to defend his relationship with Benzema, because news of a heated dressing room spat emerged in November. And in case you wanted to know what happened, here are the details. There was an Asian Champions League match between Al Ittihad and a side from Iraq, which the Saudi side trailed at the halftime by 1-0, and Nuno, who was already under pressure because of the team's performances, took his frustration out at Benzema at the halftime break. He reportedly said that you are a great player, but it seems that you are being lazy in putting pressure on the opponent. To which Benzema questioned him that why is he being singled out, and Nuno explained that you are the team leader and the most important player, so you must take the lead and be an example for all these players. So after all this, Benzema's not so perfect relation with Nuno also became public, and after some time the coach was sacked, which got mixed reactions, with some people questioning Benzema as well. Anyways, right after Nuno's sacking, Benzema scored a hat-trick. But as you can expect by now, things cannot stay rosy for long in this story, because the next challenge was Club World Cup, and Al Ittihad earned a spot in it because they were the reigning league champions of the host nation. And now under the new manager, who was former River Plate's boss Marcelo Gallardo, they were to face their first game against Egyptian side Al Ahly. Now the match began, and Egyptian side took the lead in the first half, and Benzema got this great opportunity to equalize through a penalty, but Al Ahly's goalkeeper El Chenoue made an excellent save. Now Benzema did score, but it was in the 92nd minute. But by that time, Al Ittihad trailed by 3 goals. And before they could face a side from Europe or even from South America, they were knocked out by the Egyptian side in their home. And that defeat would prove to be the first of 3 consecutive losses to see out the calendar year. And now, with the disappointed fanbase, coach and the captain, the salt in the wound moment came after they got defeated by Cristiano's Al Nassr. Yes, the much-awaited encounter between 2 of the most popular teams in Saudi, Al Nassr and Al Ittihad. With stars like Ronaldo, Benzema, Sadio Mane, Fabinho, Conte and more on the field, fans were excited for this game. And a good win under the new manager would have proven to be a positive sign. And Benzema had a good start even in this game. He provided an assist for the opener. But as you can expect by now, he did something wrong again and gave away the penalty, which Ronaldo converted, and then Ronaldo's side demolished. Benzema led Al Ittihad by 5-2, with Ronaldo and Mane both scoring braces. Fans weren't happy, and Benzema got heavily criticized after this match. Goal reported that the club's fans have accused the Frenchman of being lazy and unwilling to play his part on the construction of play, while Talk Sport said that Benzema makes no effort and has offered nothing. They started comparing him with Ronaldo, and that's never going to help any player. One of their reporters, Walid Al-Faraj, said that the gap between the public and Benzema is growing day by day. He did not play and never managed to make a significant difference, and above all, he makes no effort, as if he's telling the audience that I'm not having fun with you. While when Ronaldo arrived, he showed signs that he wanted to play, but Benzema is offering nothing. It's like the team does not like him, he also seems uncomfortable, and I don't know the reason. End quote. Now I guess there would have been people who were rooting for Benzema, but for a fan from outside that country, it certainly didn't look like that. Now it was starting to feel like all of this was really affecting him, because his Instagram account appeared to be deleted after that match. Now for the people who don't know, Benzema's Insta profile was dope. With more than 76 million followers, he regularly posted his lifestyle there. His cars, his parties, private jet, clothing and much more. Basically his Insta game was like a boss. And after the backlash he faced, his account displayed this message. So there was a clear feeling that he was being affected by all of this. Now after all this, French publication L'Equipe reported that Benzema's own fans gave him a nickname, which was Ben Benzema, which is Arabian for son of defeat. So if you look at Benzema's situation now, he was being hated in his own country, hated in the country he played in, hated by the fans of his own club, being accused by the politicians, and scrutinized by the media. Only people who maybe had some sympathy for him was Madrid fans, but it felt like even they have moved on by now. So what would a man do when after giving so much to the game, he's being treated like this? Maybe he'll want to disappear, and I guess that's what he did. It was the time for the Asian Cup, and Saudi teams were at mid-season break, so Benzema jetted off to Mauritius for a holiday. And while the other players returned to Saudi on time, Benzema was nowhere to be seen. Initial reports suggested that the player has been given some time off by Gallardo, and the next thing we hear was that he has been banned entirely from the team's training camp in Dubai. And the craziest news of the time was that no one could get in touch with Benzema. It's like he actually disappeared. And it felt like Benzema intentionally was not trying to get in touch with his employers. But later, this news surfaced that the reason for his absence was a cyclone that prevented flights from leaving Mauritius. Nevertheless, Benzema returned to the club, but it was 17 days late than the return date that was scheduled. And as per reports, him and Gallardo had a furious meeting. But the situation was not improving for the striker, as Benzema remained exiled from the rest of the squad while his teammates prepared for the upcoming matches. Reports from France claimed that he had requested to leave the club, but these kind of reports are common under such circumstances. Then the AFP reported that Ittihad have since offered to loan the striker but to another club in Saudi Championship. However, this idea was refused by Benzema. Now understand this, Benzema coming to Saudi was a small part of a bigger plan, which included to bring in the biggest superstars in football, with an intention to create Saudi football as attractive as European football is, which in result will improve Saudi Arabia's image when compared to other countries. So Benzema being a Muslim and leaving Saudi within a year would certainly be a negative PR, which the authorities would want to avoid. And that's why they would have suggested a loan move within the country. And Benzema has been someone who has been loved by European fans for more than 15 years, and all of a sudden now is been hated by his own fans would be like a scenario he would want to get out of. But while all of this was happening, Benzema never gave an interview of any sorts saying that he's unhappy or want to leave the club or the country. However, reports started coming out which suggested a fairy tale move back to his childhood club, Lyon. But it was going to be impossible due to Benzema's current salary. Now there also were interests from English clubs like Arsenal, Chelsea and especially Man United. And with Anthony Martial's injury, it looked like a January move to England could be on the cards. But nothing materialized. No concrete offers were made, and Ittihad sources say that any bid would have been rejected had it arrived. Ben Jacobs of CBS wrote this on X, that Benzema is engaged in discussions with Al Ittihad this week to clarify his future plans. Both Ittihad and wider Saudi deal makers want him to do another season. There was never a green light or a formal request from Benzema to leave. Now at this point, the relation between Benzema and the club was not getting any better. Gallardo was still insisting on Benzema training alone, which infuriated the striker and he stormed off the training in anger. And Gallardo decided to axe him from the squad for their next league clash against Al Ta'i. So yes, he was not trying to make a fuss in the media, but there were major problems internally, and it would be natural to assume that he wanted an exit, and so was claimed by the media. But all of that was denied by Benzema in an interview with GQ Middle East, where he said, "Being in Saudi is a new challenge that I like. I'm not only a football player here, but also an ambassador, and I'm here to bring other great European players in the future." End quote. So although we have an idea about what's happening behind the scenes, but Benzema doesn't seem like he's ready to leave Saudi Arabia just yet. He was maybe expecting things to improve, but the situation got even worse, because up next for Al Ittihad was Asian Champions League, and Benzema again was left out of the club's travelling squad for their match against Uzbek side. Now the official reason for his absence was Benzema lacked match fitness. Now that's true to an extent, but come on, he is the best player on your squad. and he was not match fit because the coach decided to leave him out of the squad. So naturally, Benzema again was asked by the reporters about his situation and whether he's unhappy, to which Benzema responded and said, "I'm back and now I'm better. The story of my departure is not true. I am happy in Saudi and I have no problems with Marcelo Gallardo. Everyone who says that I want to go back to Europe are liars, and I'm happy at Al Ittihad." But the reporters kept on insisting to share the reason why he was kept out of the squad and if the coach had any problems with him, to which he responded and said, "For my part, I have no problems with anyone. Ask the coach about my absence. I was even ready for the training at Dubai." So twice now Benzema affirmed that he's happy at Saudi, and I'd say his response were clever and he avoided controversies. But that does not mean that Benzema is guaranteed a good time at Saudi from now. However, he was back into the team for the next match against Al Riyadh and is still in the squad as we speak, but he recently took a dig at his teammates when he was asked about his drop in performance from last year, and he responded by saying that he cannot do it alone and is not getting the same support as he got at Real Madrid. Even his brother Crazy bashed Al Ittihad and the coach for playing him at the left wing, and things like these are not going to help Benzema's case, but performance will. And although he hasn't been tearing up the pitch, but that might improve. You remember that Matthew Valbuena sex tape blackmail case and Benzema's alleged involvement in that? I just want to remind you guys that even in that season, with all the court trials and criticism he faced, he even got removed from the French squad that year. And even then, all of that was affecting him majorly. His performance was not up to the mark. There even were people who wanted him to leave Real Madrid. But as we all know, his story did not end there. And because of his performances, he became the best player of the world, captained Real Madrid, won every trophy there is to win, and even Deschamps called him back to the French squad. And even in this season, after all that has happened, he has scored more than 20 goals, which is a decent number. So yes, there's still hope for him, but he will have to stay away from the controversies, improve his on-field performances, and he can very well make a comeback again. But you guys let me know your thoughts on Benzema. Is he wrongly getting all the criticism at Saudi, or does he deserve it? And is there something about his story that I missed? Share your thoughts and I'll respond to every single comment. And also, if you want to know what Mbappe's transfer would mean for European football, you can watch this video. Like the video, subscribe to Football Ledger, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao.